Alright, what is up guys, Jewelers here. I have a card on the top right corner right now. Please go check out my last video and vote for what game you want to play for 700 subscribers with me. I only have 4 votes, so it would be nice if I could get as many viewers as possible. Without further ado, we'll start with track number 102, Luigis Mansion from Mario Kart DS. So this track is pretty interesting. You know, it's got some nice visuals. You can see the moon on the top left corner, and we are entering straight into the mansion as Luigi did in the beginning of the game for the GameCube. As you can see, unlike the retro track in Mario Kart 7 of the same name, this course, when you enter the mansion, it doesn't really have the whole the hallway and the stairs and the decor that the original Luigi's Mansion has. So it doesn't really look like the original GameCube game. But the outside scenery looks nice. The moving trees are kind of horrendous. They're a little hard to bypass if you do not know their pattern, and they're kind of tricky to get out of if you even get stuck in them. So you want to try your best not to get stuck in them. I wish we got to stay in the mansion more often, because the mansion in the original Luigi's Mansion game for the GameCube was the entire game. It was the world map and everything, and you have to go across some different levels, but we only got to go about 10% of the course is inside the mansion, and there's only that one shortcut, and that's about it. So besides that, it looks pretty good, but we're just going to move on to the shortest track in Mario Kart Super Circuit. This is track 101, Bowser Castle 1. If I remember right, this track used to be much higher on my list, but I figured, you know, this track is pretty forgettable. It's kind of boring in a sense that, you know, it's super short. You could finish this track in under a minute. This is one of those tracks where when you enter it, you just want to get it over with because it's so short, and you memorize every single turn and corner of this track because it's not even that hard. It deserves to be in the Mushroom Cup. You know, it's shorter than Peach Circuit, I believe, and you know, it's not that hard to memorize. There's only 5 jumps and the rest of it is flat, so it's pretty simple. Now, number 100, we are entering the top 100 Mario Kart tracks. Here we go, Koopa Beach 2 from Super Mario Kart, a fitting way to end the 46 triple-digit tracks that came before it, or triple-digit ranks, I should say. Number 100 is the last triple-digit number. Now, for Koopa Beach 2, it has a pretty interesting layout. However, it does suffer from, again, the colorful blocks that prevent you from taking numerous shortcuts inside and out, especially on the bottom left corner of the screen where they want you to take the water path. That's why that 45-degree angle of a wall is, you know, sticking out in that formation, so we don't have to cut the water to cut through the sand, and that, you know, that would make a major shortcut. But other than that, you know, this track is pretty interesting. However, I think the off-road is a little too interfering with yourself. So now we are entering number 99, the first double-digit track, Rock Mountain from Mario Kart 7, or Alpine Pass for you PAL players. So just like Cheap Lagoon in Mario Kart 7, where, you know, that had its sole purpose in that game was to show off the underwater section. The sole purpose in this game, even though the glider has been shown before, is to show off the glider. As you can see in this super long and amazing glider section, we get to see a great gorgeous view of, you know, the background like New Super Mario Bros. And the not palm trees, just regular trees everywhere. And, you know, on the right side, if you have a golden or a star or anything, it is just completely broken. You don't want to do what I do, not go off that ramp unless you are drifting into it. I've been messing it up lately, but you know, whatever. This is for the purpose of showing off this track in the video. And it's a pretty long track too. If you don't complete it long enough, you know, it could take you about a minute to complete, and you could cut off this entire first turn just by gliding. This track is pretty much just about gliding. Other than that, it's a pretty boring track, so that's why I had to rank it down all the way at number 99. But 98, we're coming up to DK's Jungle Parkway. So here we go. The thing about this track is that no matter how long, if it's like for a split second or for, like, you know, your entire time on this track, if you enter the off-road for a little bit, and no matter how long it is, you know, an acorn or a nut will fly at you, and you will not be able to save your time trial, and that really sucks. But because, you know, for someone that's not good at Mario Kart 64 like me, you know, I always end up in the off-road sometime on this course. The cannon is also controllable depending on when you enter the cannon. As you could see, I was hardly on the grass, and now I can't save my race there. Not that I was going to anyway, because this track, oh my god. But anyways, you got a nice waterfall to the left, and you got a very skinny bridge. This track is kind of long. You can use a mushroom for this shortcut. It's not as good as Mario Kart Wii because it's easier to control it in Mario Kart Wii. But you also have this glitch, which is kind of cool. It makes you cut off the entire track, and DK's Jungle Parkway is completed just like that. Moving on to 97, Dayz Cruiser from Mario Kart Double Dash. As you can see, the left side of the boat is blocked except on mirror mode when it's not, because it's a flip of the track. So now we are going on the right side, entering through the panel up top. We are going to be entering through the the lounge area with the pool. This pool is not like in Mario Kart 7, I believe, where you could actually swim in it. You will fall off, and Lakitu will have to pick you up. These tables are moving all the time. This track is a very unique track. Some people would probably rank him higher on their list, but for me, when compared to all the other tracks in the Flower Cup and all around, it's just not as interesting to me. In single player, there are lifesavers that you could run into before going up those last set of stairs, and then you could take alternate routes. Like if you're good enough like I am, then you could take the inside of the pool, and that saves maybe about a second. But you don't want to go down here, even though it's a nice bit of scenery. You got some pipe leaks and a fan going into the pipe, the generator that will be shooting you back out into the boat, and then you could wind up yourselves right out here to finish off the day instead of completing the lap. So now we will move on to track number 96, Mario Circuit 3 from Super Mario Kart, the last track of the Flower Cup in that game. So this track did appear as a retro track in Mario Kart Wii. However, it's just as bland as the other Mario Kart tracks. It's got plenty of twists and turns. That turn is horrific. If you don't know how to take it, then you will almost always run to the sand. And if you're using someone like Mario who does not have a fast acceleration, then it will be hard to get back to your full speed. It will take quite some time. You'll eventually do it, but it will definitely take some time. It definitely takes a lot to get used to, especially for being a Flower Cup track, and you can almost run into those walls and get it forced backwards, and that would absolutely suck. That's where I would recommend using a mushroom in time trials, if there were mushrooms. I almost forgot that there weren't any mushrooms in that game. But anyways, moving on to 95, another Super Mario Kart track, Donut Plains 2. Now this is also in the Flower Cup, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think you could cut the lake at the beginning there unless you had some sort of like mushroom / feather combined, which is not possible. And you want to definitely avoid those moles, just like I said in Donut Plains 3, because those moles will not get off you in this off-road. For some reason, they made going in that semi-off-road inevitable. They made it cover the entire track, so now no matter what, your car is going to have to slow down, which kind of sucks for using a character without high acceleration like Mario here. He's definitely not the lowest accelerating character, but it kind of sucks that they covered the entire track, or the end of it, with this semi-off-road, and now you'd have to try and drift harder to avoid the moles. But regardless, it's an alright track. It's a little difficult in Grand Prix, especially 150, but you'll just have to get used to it. Number 94. I was impressed with this track, Shy Guy Bizarre, before, and it may have been ranked higher, maybe much higher, I forgot, in my top 120 and top 136. However, this track is, I don't know. I started to get more boring of this, or I started to get more bored of this track. I'm sorry. As time went on, it's only really fun in Grand Prix because you could hit those chests right there that I just passed by, or pots, and stars could sometimes come out if you get really lucky. I unfortunately couldn't get footage of me, getting a star from that, as I'm only doing time trials. But and also this ramp section, if you do low tricks, it makes it kind of fun. But if you do those high tricks like me, and then you just want to get them over with, it's not that fun. You just kind of want to make it to the end. After the glider section, they kind of just wanted you to like get back to the track, and the start of it with that off-road that is kind of slippery. It's just an odd combination of things to put in a track. So it was a nice try, but I mean, I like the track for its design. It's just a little weird for me to handle. So this is 93, Animal Crossing, the second DLC track. This that's on this list, I should say. This track came in DLC Pack 2. It features in the Crossing Cup, which is with a green leaf symbol from the Animal Crossing series. The unique thing about this track is that it has 4 different seasons, so 4 different looks. It's kind of like, they're built-in texture hacks for these games. You got, I'm racing on the summer version right now because the summer version is only available for time trials, but when playing online or in Grand Prix or versus mode, you get the spring, fall, and winter, which have their own unique design and theme going into it. So, once you finish the lap on the regular Animal Crossing track, this is what the summer version looks like. This is the fall version with all the nice colorful trees. The winter version has the northern lights in the skies, and there's a combination of all four of them just for you to see. It's a nice track in general, but I never really got the hang of it. I never enjoyed it too much, although I like the variety that they had there. That is very unique. However, let's move on to number 92, Mario Circuit. This is definitely up here in 92 for nostalgia's sake. If I was not growing up with Mario Kart Double Dash, then I think this track would not have cracked the top 100, just because it's kind of straight in a way. It's not really that detailed. You got some nice mushrooms with the piranha plant sticking in the corner. However, when playing a Grand Prix, it could get a little discombobulated with the bumps and the Goombas when you're just trying to finish the race, especially after Mushroom Bridge, and trying to avoid the piranha plants. The piranha plants don't bother you in time trials, but in Grand Prix, oh my god, they are ruthless. And you definitely want to go around the chain chomp, especially if you have a mushroom that you want to take the shortcut with and you're behind. Go behind the chain chomp, because the chain chomp could go really far. And I wish there was a way to enter Peach Castle in that iteration of Mario Circuit, but regardless, from one Mario Circuit to another, this is Mario Circuit 4. We just talked about Mario Circuit 3 for the same game, but this game is the final course in the Star Cup. I don't know if it's the exclusivity that Mario Circuit 4 is just in this game, and except for the GBA version of this game, but solely in Super Mario Kart, the roads are narrow enough where it makes it pose as a challenge, and the off-road is not horrific as in Choco Island 2 if I were to compare a narrow road. And the pipes are sporadically placed around to make it a fitting final Star Cup challenge. I don't know why, but like compared to other Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart tracks, I thought this track was more of a fun challenge compared to definitely the other tracks. The gap is so much bigger in this track than the Mario Circuit 3, and overall, just the twists and turns, it may seem a little tight, but overall, I think the design is simply better than the third iteration of Mario Circuit for that game. Now, number 90, this is definitely a fan favorite for those who grew up with Mario Kart 64, but for me, Banshee Boardwalk, I don't know, it's very flat to me. It is, I like the dark, eerie feeling. You got the nice fish that presents you with the trophy at the end of your Grand Prix and some booze hissing around. There's not much not to like about this track. I just never really grew fond of the track, especially, with just a plastic, with the plain boardwalk with the black background and everything. And the bats could be super annoying and everything. And it's hard to use your mushroom for like a single shortcut, because there's hardly any shortcuts in the game. You can't really use your mushrooms anywhere, not even to cut the inside of the like the horror house or whatever you want to call that area. And that's just it. You're just one lap there. It was pretty linear. They had to come up with a design, I guess. And falling into the lake, that's actually water. So in case you don't want to jump in the water, because the water is very eerily and scary, just like any haunted place would be. So we're just gonna get out of that and move on to track number 89, another fan favorite for some people. So this may pose as being controversial because it does have some of the Super Mario Bros. Elements, as you saw the original Super Mario Bros. Backdrop in the background, and definitely the bricks and everything going around. This is Piranha Plant Slide or Piranha Plant Pipeway for you PAL players out there. It's got some nice boost panels onto the blocks. I definitely couldn't do that myself while recording. But you got a very interesting layout here. It was never really been my favorite, especially for this section, because the underwater is kind of hard to control, and when the piranha plants are going in an unpredictable pattern, you could just get hit by them. It just kind of gets annoying. You're going up through the castle, up out of a pipe-shaped underwater section, and then there are flags saying that you finished the race, and there you go, 45 seconds in, you're re-entering the Pipeway, and that is it for that track. I just never really found that track enjoyable, whether it be in time trials or Grand Prix. And yet again, we're finishing the video off, number 88, Dry Ruins, with what some may seem to be called a fan favorite. First, you get to do this lake jump. You definitely want to know that for getting ahead in online. It's not the world record track for time trials because there are definitely other better ways to make use of your mushrooms when doing it. You know, this course is definitely not bad in my opinion. You know, it's definitely on the difficult side, which is why they put on the first course, the special cup. But then again, you know me, I'm not a big fan of the desert courses. I just don't know why, whether it's a good desert course like this with the Yoshi statue on the left side, or you know, something terrible like Yoshi Desert. I'm just not a big fan of the desert courses. And you know, there's plenty of shortcuts in this game. I'm never good at this one. It took me a couple tries just to get the sand top, but regardless, I mean, that's pretty much going to do it for this video here. This track is you know, it's fun. It's more fun to do in time trials than it is to race, because when racing, I just want to get it over with. So anyways, that is it for this video. We are done here, not done with the series, but we are finally under 100, so be sure to stay tuned for some more videos, and I will see you all later. Thanks for watching.